It's a World Cup here, and that means, of course, there's always that extra focus from all national cricket teams the world over to ensure that their preparation is at its absolute best to ensure that they could be in pole position to be able to win that trophy. Obviously, if you're an Indian cricket team captain like Rohit Sharma is at this point, there's that extra added pressure. You're coming from a country where there's a lot of expectations, and there's also been a decade of underachievement because, well, India last won an ICC trophy all the way back in 2013, and considering the fact that the 2023 World Cup is being held in India, it's being seen as many as perhaps the best chance that India have to actually end that drought. However, there are, of course, certain things which can sometimes be a little uncomfortable as a conversation when you're talking about a World Cup squad. And one of those, unfortunately, is telling players when they've missed out on the squad. Rohit Sharma, of course, is someone who knows the agony of missing out on a squad whilst being a player who's in good form or in some kind of form. And recently in an interview, he actually ended up opening up about how it is he dealt with it and how it is that they try and deal with certain situations now, and more importantly, what exactly are his hopes or what it is that he plans to do to give both himself and India the best chance to be in contention for that World Cup trophy. First, let's talk about the obvious thing. Of course, you'd remember in 2011, Rohit was, by that point, he had made his debut 4 odd years back for India. It was a batsman showing good flashes of form. Everyone was talking about how talented he was. Played some good knock in the 2007 World T20 as well, but ended up missing out on a spot in that squad because because then skipper MS Dhoni believed that having a wrist spin option in Piyush Chawla would have added more value than having the extra batsman. And Rohit understandably was crestfallen. In fact, when he talks about that moment in this interview, he says that I remember after that happened, I remember Yuvraj Singh taking me out for dinner. He explained to me how it feels when you are left out. He told me the best thing is that you have so many years in front of you, and that part is actually correct because when you look at it, at that point Rohit was still very much a youngster. He was, of course, a part of the World Cup sides and in fact ICC tournament sides thereafter. He in fact ended up making a comeback to the side right after 2011, played some good knocks as well. So he was Yuvraj was very right in that point in pointing out that look, you've got your whole career ahead of you. You don't need to worry about not being able to play in a World Cup, and truth be told, that has been what happened. Rohit has been part of multiple World Cup sides for India, although success admittedly has eluded them at a time when Rohit really has been at pretty much his prime when you're talking about his batting form. Of course, he ended up elaborating on that further as well, and also mentioned how it is that they try and handle it now when it comes to players being rejected or being told that look, you're not going to be a part of the squad. He said that I try and put myself in their shoes, there being, of course, those players who, are being turned down. He's saying that when I wasn't picked in the 2011 squad, it was such a heartbreaking moment for me, and I felt what's left after being dropped from a World Cup squad. Now, in Rohit's case, you can understand why it is the rejection felt doubly hard. It's because he had been a part of the side that ended up winning the trophy in 2007. Remember, it was a young look India side that lifted the first ever World T20. Rohit was a part of that squad, and to not be a part of a World Cup taking place at home, obviously he would understand that pain. In fact, 2011 was the last time it was played at home. 2023 is also going to be at home. So obviously those players who end up not making the cut, well, they too would be feeling really, really bad. And he says that I try and put myself in their shoes and we try and make it explain to them. And he's also spoken about the further processes they take when talking about, team selection. He says that while picking the best combination, there will be guys who will miss out. Rahul Bhai, that's Rahul Dravid, the head coach, and I have tried our best to explain to the players why they are not in the squad. In fact, he said that we actually speak one-on-one to the players. We tell them all our thoughts behind the selection processes. So it's a pretty open door policy when it comes to, dealing with the players. I mean, one could joke that maybe that's how they should deal with fans and the journalists as well. But that's a topic for another time. But what is good to know is that players aren't left in the dark or in the lurch, and that more often than not, they're explained that, look, this is why we're not picking you, and you will be in the scheme of things in the future. Of course, that could change later on. In fact, as Rohit himself would know, he wasn't part of the 2011 World Cup squad, but that wasn't a career ender. He ended up having a pretty good career for India. And in fact, if you're talking about Rohit being at his best with the bat, then more often than not, what comes to mind is the 2019 World Cup, where of course Rohit ended up getting, 500s, ended up scoring 648 runs in that particular tournament. He ended up finishing as this tournament's highest run scorer as well. So it was definitely a good tournament personally for Rohit. Of course, the fact that India ended up not winning the tournament kind of ends up sullying it somewhat. But Rohit has admitted that he wants to be in that sort of a zone, in that frame of mind going into 2023. He said, I want to get into the phase I was in before the 2019 World Cup. I was in a great frame of mind and I prepared really well for that tournament. And in fact, it was very evident just how well Rohit had prepared, because as I said, it is not a mean feat to get 5 centuries in a World Cup. The pressure is high, the stakes are high in every single game that you play, and Rohit ended up getting 5 centuries. Of course, there wasn't to be a happy ending at that point, but maybe now 4 years later, with Rohit still in admittedly good form, at least as far as ODI and Test cricket is concerned, you'd hope that he can replicate, do exactly what it is he said, and get into that phase of the 2019 World Cup to ensure that he gives both himself and India the best chance of lifting that trophy. Now, what are your thoughts on Rohit Sharma's interview, and do you think that he can actually replicate or maybe even better the form that he showed in 2019? You can let us know that in the comments below, and don't forget, like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel and tap that bell icon as well. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the Sports app, and if you're already on the channel, go right ahead and check out some other videos that we've done. For now though, from my side, it is bye-bye.